This is a spontaneous video. I wanted to make a video talking about hormones, and the reason why is most people don't realize your hormones is actually what controls your entire life. Every decision you make, everything you do is all controlled by your hormones. And if you don't understand how to control your hormones, they will control you. If you do understand how to control your hormones, you know how to manipulate them so that you can increase your chances of success, so that you can be in a certain mood when you're around somebody, so you can be happy, all sorts of things. There's so many reasons, and I do it every single day in my own life. And I thought it'd be something worth sharing because a lot of people don't know these things, such as dopamine hijacking, which is something that social media companies do. And a lot of people don't realize that this is the reason, this can be a huge cause for why they're so anxious, so depressed, and why they can't get anything done. And a lot of men don't realize that they're so low in testosterone that they're miserable. And there's many other factors that go into it, but this is what I want to talk about today. Mastery over your hormones is how you achieve what you want to achieve in life. It's how you have a good life. And if you haven't been able to do it in the past, don't worry. Today is a new, fresh slate. You can start from today and it doesn't matter. This is incredibly safe. It's very easy to implement as well. And this is a thing that the experts know, all the professionals, that they implement every single day into their life. And that's how you get people who are ultra successful. And what I'm going to teach you today is what's going to give you the edge over everyone. So don't share this. Don't go around spreading this if you want that secret edge. But I'll be telling you what I personally do, and take from it from what you will. This is my own experience, and I've seen it work. There's one major... Actually, I'll leave that for now. So your life is a cocktail of hormones. What do I mean by that? There are so many hormones that your body creates. Your body is a drug factory. You know when you take if you've taken drugs before, if you've taken ecstasy, anything like that, what they do is they manipulate your hormones, so they increase them, and that's how you feel so good. But it's not something that's actually inside these drugs. It's all it's doing is manipulating how your body feels, and you already create this inside yourself. There's things such as serotonin, dopamine, prolactin, and testosterone, estrogen, oxytocin. There's so many. There's 19 of them. And so when I say a cocktail of hormones, what I mean is certain things you do and certain actions you have will release certain hormones. For example, hugging someone will release oxytocin. It could release dopamine, testosterone as well, but it depends on the situation. And a lot of this has to do with not just what you eat, but actually what you do and how your brain perceives things. So this is a mental and physical thing, but it has very real results. Today, I'm going to be talking about what I call the cocktail of success. And this includes 3 hormones, which are dopamine, testosterone, and prolactin. And you want to be able to control these hormones. This show, whatever you call this video, this is going to be aimed mostly at men. However, women, you also have a lot to learn in this. So testosterone is very good for women as well. Now, let's quickly go through by discussing what dopamine does, what testosterone does, and what prolactin does. So dopamine is the motivation hormone. So if you're low in motivation, you're feeling lazy, or if you can't focus, this is likely to do with your dopamine. And let me give you an example. So when you scroll on social media, or when you get a like, when you get that big red heart, you see it, someone's giving you social acceptance, it makes you scroll and refresh it so that you can see if anyone else has done it as well. And what that is, that's dopamine. What happens is it's a reward triggering hormone. So when your brain gets a reward, such as when you eat incredibly tasty, high calorie, fatty, sugary foods, your brain's like, wow, this is a reward. And the same thing when you scroll on social media, getting likes and stuff like that, because we are incredibly social creatures as human beings, and we evolved to be social. If you compare us to other animals, for example, the reason why we've got so far as we have is because we are so social. And so we look for social acceptance. And that's why when you refresh your likes on Instagram, for example, or any other social media platform, you're going to keep doing it afterwards because your brain is perceiving that you'll get a reward. If you have things that reward you, dopamine will act to make sure you keep doing those things. So it's there for our survival. For example, if you're a male, you're pursuing a woman, and she gives you very good indication that she's interested in you, your dopamine is going to make sure that you keep pursuing her because, for all intents and purposes, this is an opportunity to mate and reproduce. It works in other ways as well. When you eat incredibly high-calorie foods that are dense, sugary, and everything like that, what it's telling the brain is this has got so many nutrients that we need, and not necessarily good ones, but it's got so many nutrients. It's so calorie dense. This will help us survive. We should do this more often. And so when you start eating those foods, you have triggered a dopamine cycle where you're going to keep chasing that dopamine. So the more of those foods you eat, the more dopamine you're going to need. Anyway, this applies to many different parts of your life. Anything that really gives you a reward or satisfaction of any sort. So this even applies to work. If you do some form of work and someone says, congratulations, you've done really well, you're going to get a shot of dopamine. And next time you're going to want that reward of gratification again. That's just how it works. Now, dopamine has a dark side because there's something called dopamine sensitivity. And what that means is how sensitive your dopamine is. If you're constantly triggering your dopamine, so you're always giving it reward. So let's say you're taking shots of cocaine, you're having sex every single day, eating these hyper-palatable, sugary, fatty foods, sweet, stuff like that, then your dopamine sensitivity is going to be so low that it requires major things just to stimulate your brain. So that's low dopamine sensitivity. And that can be, so if you're a junkie of any sort, you're going to have your dopamine sensitivity is going to be very low. It's going to require bigger hits in order to trigger your reward system. And so that's when you can't really do much in life. You can't pick up a book because that's not very stimulating. You can't focus for very long because it's not stimulating. And so the only things that will stimulate you are things that are incredibly rewarding. Maybe jumping out of a plane, taking loads of different drugs, sniffing cocaine, eating hyper palatable food, sex every single day, pornography, all these things. These are incredibly high dopaminogenic activities. Now, that's someone with low dopamine sensitivity. But what about someone with high dopamine sensitivity? Someone who's got very high dopamine sensitivity, they can get the same thrill from something which is more boring than someone with low dopamine sensitivity. For example, I read a lot of books. I write a lot, do communication, things that you need to do for like business. And I apply this in my life. If I keep my dopamine under control, because by keeping my dopamine under control and abstaining from things that are incredibly, that have such a big dopamine hit, I can stay incredibly focused on long-term for tasks that you find boring. So for example, I could meditate and feel as good as someone who's taken a line of cocaine, because for me, I have very high dopamine sensitivity, so I get a reward from very menial tasks, and so that is it's sustainable for me, and And I can do very high reward. I can do all those sorts of things. But once I start doing them, I'll get in a cycle of keep doing them because you get that reward. So your brain keeps chasing that reward. And this is how you build habits. If you want to chase success, you have to be able to control your dopamine. Otherwise, you're going to be completely dysfunctional. You won't be able to operate in any form of life. If you're always scrolling through social media is so bad. I'll probably have to censor that in a video so I don't get cancelled by the platforms. But what they do is they hijack your dopamine. When you're messaging someone and it has the ellipsis when they're replying, that's a dopamine reward to keep you on a platform. The little red love hearts, so it shows that you got a notification, someone liked what you did, you gain followers. The infinite scroll to keep getting rewards of content, it hijacks your dopamine. And if you're living your life on social media as a consumer, you're going to get your dopamine hijacked and you're not going to be able to concentrate. We have a society now where everyone's being labelled as ADHD, being diagnosed with ADHD, but I honestly believe that this is a social media problem and a lack of sleep problem. I won't talk about sleep today, but and I very often see people who they cut social media during essential parts of the day, they're suddenly able to start thinking properly again. For example, for myself, if I wake up in the morning and I check my social media, I'm going to be chasing that dopamine hit all day. I'm going to keep checking my social media all day. Just, if I open this app, is there a reward for me? Am I going to see a message? Is someone going to like one of my things? That's how dopamine works. It's very sensitive. Now, for me, what I do is I have certain apps I use to block on my phone. So my phone, I use concentration mode, so it blocks all my social media throughout the day. On my laptop, I use certain add-ons in my Google Chrome to actually hide my feed and hide certain things on my social media. So when I need to use them for work, maybe I need to visit a Facebook business page or something, there isn't something there to hijack my dopamine. And this is incredibly important. Ever since I've started doing this, you have so much control and focus over your work. But this is in areas you wouldn't even expect. So if you're checking your emails, for example, or you say, I'm just checking my LinkedIn, that's for work. It doesn't matter. That still will hijack your dopamine. And what you want to do if you have a day and you want to concentrate, if you know you've got a really important day, stay away from everything, honestly. Just keep your phone away from you. Don't listen to too much music. Don't switch off your messages, put on Do Not Disturb, because as soon as you have some form of communication, something coming into your world, then that's when your dopamine system wakes up and it starts chasing something. And what you want it to do is you want it to chase what you want to work on, what you're focusing on for your work. And that's how you can get a lot accomplished in your day. Control your dopamine. So yeah, that's dopamine. Let's talk about testosterone. So testosterone. Well, this applies to men and women. Men, testosterone is what makes your chest pump out when you walk. It's when you walk past another male and you look at him, it's who will look at each other longer and who looks away first. If you have high testosterone, it's likely the other man will look away first. High testosterone is what makes women attracted to you. It's what makes you pursue women. It's what makes you pursue stress as well. If you learn to control your testosterone, you will see huge wonders in your life. Currently, we're going through a crisis where men have the lowest testosterone levels in history. And you see a lot of other things happen with it. You see men who are depressed, men who lack purpose, men who are just going nowhere. And a lot of this can be because of low testosterone. And it really is that simple. And there's quite a few things you can actually do to increase your testosterone. Now, women, what does testosterone do for you? Testosterone will make you more confident, and it will also make you pursue sex. Testosterone and estrogen are different because testosterone will make you pursue sex, but estrogen will make you accept it. So women, you're more likely to have an orgasm and feel comfortable around men if you have higher levels of estrogen. And men, if you don't have enough levels of estrogen, you'll get erectile dysfunction. So estrogen is needed to accept sex, but testosterone will make you pursue it. Now, why do I focus on my testosterone? Because testosterone for me makes me grow muscles. It makes my muscles bigger, makes them stay there for longer. It also means that when I'm negotiating in business or when I'm having conversations, I'm able to get my point across better, and I'm able to carry the conversation and lead in a direction I want it to go, which makes me an effective just person in general. It means I can accomplish a lot. Testosterone also makes my dating life more exciting. It opens my options up. And testosterone makes stress. I've seen this from Dr. Uberman. It makes stress feel good. So I work a lot. And what testosterone does, it will blunt the effect of cortisol. Cortisol is a stress hormone. And so when it blunts that effect, it means you have a higher tolerance for stress. And so when my work is piling up, I have this person contacting me, this happening, this, I can handle that stress, and it makes you pursue more stress as well. Testosterone gives you drive. And it's funny because you see these big tycoons, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, making huge, crazy businesses. And your testosterone with modern day environment should start to decline quite significantly at that age, but people get on testosterone replacement therapy, which is an exogenous form of testosterone, because it's an advantage. It gives older men the ability to pursue what younger men do, have that drive, that ability to keep pursuing something. And if you want success, testosterone is highly linked with dopamine, by the way, they kind of work together. If you want success, you need high levels of testosterone. That's what's going to be driving you to success. Now, let's talk about first what decreases your testosterone. What decreases your testosterone is low amounts of sleep. When you have lower amounts of sleep, you increase your levels of cortisol. You create hormones in your body through cholesterol, and it'll create DHEA, which will then create your sex hormones. But before hormones are created, they can go down one path. They can go down to either create sex hormones such as estrogen, testosterone, or it can create cortisol, which is the stress hormone. The stress hormone is very useful. For example, if you're fighting a tiger, running away from a bear or lion. But in our modern day environment, we have so many micro stressors. Maybe you get in an argument with this person. You can't stop thinking about this argument you've had with your boss. It's not exactly practical. And if you're constantly triggering your cortisol, there's a number of health problems that can come with it, such as it can severely damage your digestive system. But it'll also decrease your testosterone because I said before, cholesterol can go either down to make your sex hormones or cortisol. So you have a limited supply. And if it's making cortisol, it's not making testosterone. So you want to limit your levels of cortisol. And to do that, you need adequate levels of sleep. Make sure not to just get 8 hours of sleep, but make sure to get 8 good hours of sleep. There's many things you can do. You can wear blue blocking glasses, orange ones. I wear them every single night. That helps me. You can finish eating your last meal as early as possible. Take magnesium as a bedtime supplement, even lion's mane. That's what I do, and it helps me a lot. So those are just some things that you can do, improve your sleep. But what else will decrease your testosterone? Doing things that makes you a beta male will decrease your testosterone. For example, if you get rejected by a woman and you take it to heart and you don't take it as a learning opportunity, this will decrease your testosterone. If you walk past another male and you have a stare out and you look away first, this will decrease your testosterone. There are loads of other things that will decrease your testosterone as well. Long-term endurance, sports, not getting enough calories, not eating adequate. There's a lot of things that go into it. But I guess you want to know how to actually increase your testosterone, not just the things that decrease it. Lifting heavy weights. Lifting heavy weights is incredibly good for your testosterone. It's a signal that you need to be strong. You need to put on these masculine features, grow muscle, and lifting heavy weights, doing deadlifts, squats is incredibly good for your testosterone. That's one thing. Other things as well is your diet. You want to be, you don't want to be going fully ketogenic. Keto diets have been shown to actually reduce testosterone. You do need carbohydrates, but you don't want too much carbohydrates at the same time for other reasons. Well, it's up to you. Depends what you're doing. But you want to make sure to get enough cholesterol in your diet because, as we discussed before, cholesterol is the precursor to make your sex hormones. You can get cholesterol from things such as butter, animal fats. You won't find cholesterol in a vegetable fat, so you won't find it in coconut oil. You won't find it in any seed oils, anything like that. So you want to be focusing on animal fats to get your cholesterol. I eat tallow, which is beef fat. I also consume butter, and I have the fatty cuts of meat, which will have higher levels of cholesterol, which is very good for you. So that's one thing. There's some supplements you can take. I take boron. Boron is a mineral, which we should be getting in our diet, but we actually don't. And what boron does is it frees up your testosterone. So